Hey folks, here at OS and VTXreviews.com. You're watching our full video review of the Barnes & Noble Nook Simple Touch ebook reader. This is a 6-inch ebook reader with an electronic e-ink screen, which means it's pretty good for reading under the sun, even in brighter environments without having too much glare to it, and also it allows the device to conserve its battery life. The Simple Touch iteration is the lowest price ebook reader coming from Barnes & Noble's current lineup of ebook readers. Priced at only $100, it's very inexpensive and also goes head-to-head with the Kindle ebook reader, the 6-inch iteration. A main differentiator between the two is, of course, the Nook ebook reader has a touchscreen display for navigational purposes, whereas the Kindle does not. Otherwise, the device also features Wi-Fi but no 3G, and also again has pretty good battery life and access to Barnes & Noble's store for constant ebook access and download of magazines, periodicals, and newsprints, and the such. Taking a closer look at the design, we have access to a simple Nook power key for turning the device on and for the device to basically lock and also go to the home menu and navigational system, which we'll see in a moment. And the left and right hand edges of the unit are dedicated to page turn and page back keys. They're pretty tactile and easy to press, but they're not touch sensitive, but for the most part we found it to be pretty responsive and easy to use even one-handed. The sides of the unit are enwrapped in a layer of soft touch, which makes the device very grippy and easy to hold, and this design continues on the back of the panel, which is also coated in soft touch for a grippy finish and fit. And this allows the device to be not too slippery, at the same time repels too much fingerprints and dust, which we are fans of. Something that's quite strange on this particular ebook reader is the incorporation of a power on and off switch on the very back. This is a little bit stiff and difficult to press unless you're using a long index finger, and we found it to be a little bit awkward as opposed to something going on the top. There are no controls on the sides of the unit, but on the back we have access to a micro USB for charging and syncing and some pry holes if you do want to change out and swap the rechargeable lithium ion battery behind the battery cover. And the side here is just a slot for your micro SD card needs. This particular ebook reader comes installed with 2 GB of internal storage for downloading books on Barnes & Noble's store, or for you to actually load your own text-based files for the device to read. But those files are kind of limited because, unlike the Untitled Chapter, the number of files that can be understood by the product are limited to the special Nook edition of the ebook books that you have to download over their own store. Otherwise, the device turns on to a pretty simple to use and navigatable UI experience. We see on the top of the unit we have access to the battery life information and the time and date. As far as battery life is considered, it's not as good as the $69 Kindle, but especially with wireless options like Wi-Fi turned on, but it still lasts for a sufficient amount of time for you to get through a few books here and there, and with the unit turned off in standby mode, the device definitely lasts a lot longer. On the sides here, we have access to our currently read pages and our notification of books, and our home screen composes of a currently reading now book, our page number, our new reads, which includes our currently and newly downloaded books, and also what to do next in terms of connecting to Wi-Fi and some basic notifications. Again, it's a very intuitive user experience. As far as the touchscreen is considered, it's actually a resistive touchscreen. However, it's a very, very sensitive touchscreen display that we had no problems with the even lightest of taps and presses, which we were very impressed with. So for example, we just lightly tap on that book and the device will recognize it. It's almost like a passive in terms of technology, which we are impressed with. As far as page turns, we can turn the page by using the touchscreen interface or using the aforementioned clicky buttons, and both of those clicking functions works and responds to the device pretty well. As far as page turns are considered, the device is pretty responsive, and as with more modern ebook readers, the page turns are less notable with older and first generation e-ink style devices. And again, you don't see that much of a refreshing page rate thing that we used to see on previous devices, so it's definitely a huge step forwards in that direction. Pressing on the home key, it brings up the traditional menu navigation drawer, which takes us either home, to our library, to the Barnes & Noble shop, to the search, or to our settings. We're going to go there for right now just to turn the wireless function on and off. To turn on the Wi-Fi, we simply click on that, and it's going to drain the battery a little bit faster, but connecting over Wi-Fi is pretty good, and the same thing goes with the reception. As far as turning on Wi-Fi, we have access to, again, the Barnes & Noble store, but unlike the first generation of the Nook, we no longer have access to an experimental web browser, so that it's a little bit more limited in terms of functionality, but as an ebook reader first, it does work as advertised. As far as the thickness and overall weight of the product is considered, it's a bit heavier and definitely a bit larger than the $69 Kindle. So if you want something that's really small and pocketable, this device is going to be somewhat heavier and more heftier than the aforementioned Kindle. But it still is relatively small, so you can definitely take it around with you without having it weigh you down too much. Again, with the ebook that we were talking about before, you can also tap on certain words to get the dictionary definition, and we can highlight those and add different annotations to add different notes, and also, again, search it up by looking it up and pressing that key on the side here, and it uses the Merriam-Webster's dictionary to get your result, and you can slide through for more information, and it works as advertised, which means that it's a pretty good tool even for learning as a student, even in school, for annotating books and learning new vocabulary in books as well. So now our Wi-Fi is turned on, and if we wanted to take a look at our shop, we can jump right on in, and loading speeds are again pretty fast, so the processor and the rendering optimization are both pretty decent, and from here we can search from different popular books. Our search is shot for different genres, different lists, and of course by keywords. Because the device does have a full touchscreen keyboard, it offers a full QWERTY experience for typing in, so it's a pretty good and intuitive experience overall. So if we wanted to search something like free, we can instantly do that, and there's not as much lag as there used to be on the first generation model. So we see the first, free book that's been popped up would be this one. If we wanted to tap on them, it gives us an expert, a book cover, and some rating information, and we can also download it. The interface is pretty easy to use, very intuitive, even more so, I would say, than some comparable devices in the past. It's right up there with the Amazon Kindle services that provides you with downloading ebooks, and we think it's very intuitive and very fast. However, the process of actually downloading books takes a little bit longer than over Amazon's WhisperNet. So downloading books will take a few seconds, more than you probably expected if you used an Amazon ebook reader before, but it's not too long either, so it is still sufficient for most people's needs. So again, you can go to your library and it stores all your books by cover art. You can also sort it by list and by name, and those according settings on the top bar of the unit. Again, there's also a search functionality for you to search up different, search your Nook for different books, and also the store for different settings. And essentially that's it. You can also search, of course, the screen brightness. A special feature on this particular Nook is that you can have a social application here, which allows you to actually connect your Nook device with your Twitter, your Google, your Facebook, and your other social media services. And you can then like your books, and then those will automatically update through your other social venues, which is something that's unique and interesting. Overall, this is a pretty powerful ebook reader. I think that it's very easy to use. We were definitely impressed with the touchscreen interface. It's really responsive, really fast, and you don't really need to tap very hard for the device to register your touches. The price point is low, the services are high, and overall, we're pretty impressed with the unit. Of course, it faces stiff competition with Amazon's $69 offering that we have here, but if you do want that touchscreen experience, this device mostly goes unrivaled. So thanks for watching this video review here at osmvtxreviews.com. This has been our video review of the Nook Barnes & Noble Nook Simple Touch ebook reader.